Hello guys, welcome back to Manalasak. I hope you've all been well. This is a revision video for Trig expressions. Now bear in mind, I'm saying that this is a revision video. This is not a lesson video. This is us using past papers. And when I'm saying past papers, I'm talking about a Gauteng paper and a KZN paper that were written last year in June 2024, right? So I'm going to use those past papers to practice this topic of Trig expressions with you, right? So if you need a lesson video where you get to learn about these things from the basics, I have a video sorted for you. So you'll go on your YouTube channel, search on the title bar there, on the search bar, that you want Manalasak. It will land you on a page for Manalasak. When you get to the page, you go to playlist, and then you will get to the playlist side. On the playlist side, you scroll down, and then you're going to see this part here. You see this playlist that says grade 10 trigonometry. That's a playlist for Trig when you're in grade 10. So go study on your own those items there, right? So now I want us to start with our revision for these papers. So I'm picking up questions only that have to do with Trig expressions, only questions that have to do with Trig expressions, and then I'm trying to solve them. And again, we have to learn how to time ourselves. Remember now that maths is a subject that you're going to write under pressure all the time. So you need to time yourself. This is no longer grade 9 where you had all the time, where you'd write the maths exam and then afterwards you fall asleep and then wait for the exam to finish. No, most likely from here onwards, when you write maths, by the time the final minute runs down, you probably won't be done. So every minute counts, every second counts, right? So let's start. Let me choose a pen here quickly. I want the white color and this one. So I'm going to start with this one here. I have 2.2.1. It says you are given that, I hope you can see this. It says you are given that x is 20 degrees, y is 21 degrees. Calculate the value of the following correct to 2 decimal places. Now it says 1 mark, which means this shouldn't take you more than 1 minute. And let me show you how. Basically, we want you to substitute here that the cosine of 2, where there is y, you put the y value there. The y value is said to be 21 degrees. Now, when you see a question that says correct to 2 decimal places, basically they are telling you that you must use a calculator here, right? So I'll pull out my calculator just now. So there we are. If you look at my calculator there, I just placed it the way it is. Cos, I have a 2. And then there's an open bracket again, 21, and I closed the bracket twice because the bracket was open 2 times. I'm getting 0.74 correct to 2 decimal places. So I'll work with that. 0.74. 0.74. There goes your 1 mark. Easy, right? So 2.2.2, this one is said to be 2 marks. Still, no problem. You're just going to say the sine of where there is x, you substitute with x, and x is 20 degrees. Plus, where there is y, you sub with y, and y is 21 degrees. Close that. Afterwards, again, you pull out your calculator here, right? I'm getting 0.66. Remember now, this 6 is going to convert this 5 into a 6 because we are rounding off to 2 decimal places. So just put everything on the calculator the way it is, and then you write the answer. Easy as that. 0.66, that's my answer. I'll put it down here. 0.66. 2 marks for you. See how easy is that? Don't waste time. And then we have the second of x. Now the second of x is something else. You have to remember that now the second comes from something, right? This is an inverse. It's an inverse of what? Of a cosine, right? So which means whatever the cosine is, I'm going to write it now as an inverse, as a way that is flipped around, right? So now, how do I do that? The second of x is the same as 1 of the cosine of x, right? That's how you write the inverse of it. So basically here you have 1 over the cosine of, how much was x? X was 20 degrees. So I have the cosine of 20 degrees. This is the same as, again, you pull out your calculator here. This gives you 1.06. That rounded off to 2 decimal places, right? 1.06. So I'm going to write that down here 1,06. I have 1,06. 1 mark here, 1 mark for me subbing there. Easy as that. So you see, this thing was worth 2, 4, 5 marks, which means you would have spent 5 minutes here. Easy marks. In fact, you should spend less than 5 minutes, because you'd quickly be writing just substitute, calculator, answer. Substitute, calculator, answer. Easy as that. Next question. So I hope you are pausing the video, attempting the questions on your own first, before you proceed to see the solution, right? So we'll move on here. This is 4 marks. And again, I'm expecting this to take 4 minutes away from you, and you'll see how. So you have the sine of 45, which means this is supposed to be a fraction, right? And then the sine of 45 is being squared, so I'll say square. Minus, I have the cosine of 60. I'll substitute it here. I have the tangent of 10, so I'll put a bracket for that. I wonder. And I have the cotangent of 10. Now, this is interesting. I'll get to those parts. Let's start with sine 45. Sine 45, you pull out your calculator. You're going to say, I know they're saying without the use of a calculator. I can see that. They're saying without the use of a calculator. Now, when the examiner says this, basically they're saying to you, whatever you do, just don't give us the answer in decimals. Give us the answer as fractions, right? So I'm going to have my sine 45 and then close bracket there. Make sure that it comes out as a fraction. And there we go. Root 2 over 2. Write that here. Root 2 over 2. You see that? And I need the cosine of 60. Again, the same thing. You're going to say cos 60. You have 1 over 2. There you go. So here I'll put 1 over 2. Right, and I have the tangent of 10. Now, the tangent of 10 now is another story. I want to write it as the tangent of 10. Why? Because I'm seeing that this tangent of 10 is being multiplied with the cotangent of 10. Now remember, the cotangent is an inverse of what? Of a tangent. Now, how do I write the tangent as an inverse? I write it as a fraction, which is 1 over the tangent of 10 degrees. That's the cotangent of 10, right? Let me erase this now. So basically what this does is that I'm going to get, choose color red, this denominator tangent 10 will cancel numerator tangent 10, right? And then back to white. What am I having here? I'm having this thing being written twice. That's a root 2 over 2 multiplied by a root 2 over 2 minus 1 over 2 plus, what is this whole thing? This entire thing is 1, right? And then if this thing will end up giving you a problem, just use a calculator to be safe, right? Root 2 times root 2, that is 2. 2 multiplied by 2, that is 4. Minus 1 over 2 plus 1. Now again, if this thing will be a problem for you, go to the calculator, right? Because you know you will make mistakes very much. So just say 2 over 4. And as you see on a calculator, this whole thing gives me 1, right? So there you go. Your final answer will be 1, right? Now, you might be wondering that, well, this thing is 4 marks. Will I not lose marks for not doing things properly? No. In Trig, we'll mark this part that you got it right. We'll mark this part that you got it right. We'll mark this part that you got it right. And afterwards, we give you the answer for the mark for the answer there. The mark for the answer. You see that? So you waste your time and then you'll get your 4 marks. Easy as that. I hope that makes sense. Right? Next part. This time I'm picking up a question from the Gauteng question paper. Again, I want you to see the trend here. In the KZN paper, question 2, they had a question like this, whereby we had to use the calculator. Afterwards, the follow-up question, which was question 3, they said do not use a calculator. Now, the Gauteng paper now, it also starts with this, whereby they are saying correct 2 decimal places, which means they are saying to you, use a calculator here. And then remember, any question like this, I don't expect anyone to lose marks here. 2.1.1. You are just going to substitute those things. What is A? A is 78 degrees minus the sine of what is B? B is 34 degrees. There you go. And afterwards, you take out your calculator. On your calculator, the main important thing here is that you should know how to use the calculator. You can't fail trig when you have a calculator. In grade 10, no ways. So you see, I said sine 75, I closed the bracket. Afterwards, I said minus the sine of 34. Then I closed the bracket again. It gave me how much? 0.4. Remember, correct to 2 decimal places. 0.41, because this 6 will make this to be 1. So 0.41. I come here and then I'm going to have 0.41. Easy as that. The second question, do the same thing. I have a cube root of the second. What is the second now? The second comes from cosine, right? Which means the inverse of a cosine. That's what I want here. So I have 1 over the cosine, right? The cosine of A, how much was A? A was 78 degrees. So I'm just going to put this on a calculator and see what I get. Oh, this part I actually have to show you all this, the whole step to getting the answer there. When you go to your calculator here, you want to look at your calculator. I'm not sure if you can see, but zoom in there, you'll see that for you to get the cube root, you actually need to press shift and then press this button here. You see above here, there's a box, root box. Yeah, you click that. Then you're going to get this. Then you put 3 above there, and then here you put a fraction symbol. I hope guys you know how to use a calculator. I don't think I need to suffer showing you all the steps of using a calculator, right? And then remember to close the bracket. Now, what happens if you don't close the bracket? It gives you error, right? So which means you should come here and close your bracket so that you can get the correct answer, which is 0.69. I hope that makes sense. So 0.69. Sorry, that's not 0.69. What am I saying? That is 1.69. Right. 1.69. Let's put it here. Done. 2 marks in the bag. Also here, 2 marks in the bag. 4 marks in total. You are always going to get these questions on the test. And every time that happens, I hope this is where you're going to collect marks. No worries, no fuss, no nothing. Go straight, substitute, use a calculator, get the answer, correct to 2 decimal places or to any number of decimal places they requested, right? I hope you know how to round off. Now, again, remember what we did? KZN paper, we did 1 with a calculator. We did 1 without a calculator. So now on the Gauteng paper that they wrote in 2024, we did 1 with a calculator. Now we need 1 without a calculator. But then, of course, now we know better that when they say without a calculator, they are basically saying only work with fractions. Do not show decimals. You can use a calculator. You just have to be strategic about it, right? So I'm going to say what? I'm going to say, choose a pen here. The sine of 45. Again, pull out my calculator. Sine 45. I'm going to say sine 45, close bracket. I'm getting root 2 over 2. That's what I'm working with. So sine 45 is root 2 over 2. All over, I have this number here, which is root 2 over 2. I have a dot here, which means I have to put multiplication, or you can put a dot. And I have the square tangent of 30. So which means I must have the tangent of 30 and then square it. But the tangent of 30 must be in terms of a fraction. And remember, 30 is a special angle. So I can just pull out my calculator there. I'm going to say the tangent of 30 is equals to root 3 over 3. So root 3 over 3 this way, right? And then now I do the solving. So here I'm going to say this whole fraction, if I can put brackets around this, it will cancel with this whole fraction. Do you see that? Now, afterwards, I'm going to get what? I'm going to be left with, let me put it here. This part will be left as 1 over, this will be the same as 1 multiplied by this fraction here. When you square this fraction, you're going to have root 3 over 3 multiplied by root 3 over 3. This way. But all of them must be under a denominator there. Do the right things, guys. So here I have 1 over, this 1 is no longer important because when you multiply 1 with the number will stay, right? So I have root 3 times root 3, which is 3. And then I have 3 times 3, which is 9. All right. This is the same as 1. Here is 1. And then this division line, I'm going to replace it with a division sign divided by a fraction, which is this fraction. See how we did that? Then this is the same as 1. And then remember, we cannot divide in fractions. We can only multiply. So I'm turning this into a multiplication. Afterwards, I'm going to flip this around, which will be 9 over 3. Now, this is the same as 1 times 9 over 3. It's 9 over 3. What is 9 over 3? 9 over 3 is 3. That's your final answer. Or what I suggest, you can move from this part. Then cancel denominators out up until you get here. After you get here, use your calculator and get here. And then you're going to get your 4 marks. 3 marks. Because it's 1 mark, 1 mark, and 1 mark for the answer. Hope that makes sense. Okay? So, if you tried this on your own, you should have gotten 3. That's according to me, right? So, if you are practicing for the junior exam, I'm sure you're sorted now. We did the KZN paper for June 2024. We did the Gauteng paper June 2024. However, I can't leave you like that. I have a bonus question for you, right? Bonus questions, let me put it like that. I went again and searched the November paper for KZN. And then I found this. They had a question that also had trig expressions. Again, it's the same thing. Substitute, use calculator, get the answer. The same thing. Like, there's no way where the examiner can run to if you understand the structure that the question paper is going to come at. Nothing will surprise you. Okay, so look at this. What happens here? We have 5.3.1. This is cosine of x plus y. So you're going to say cosine of, what is x? X is 56.3 plus y is how much? 97.5 degrees. The same thing. I hope you paused the video and tried this on your own first before you proceeded to see the solution. 56.3 plus 97.5, close bracket. That is negative 0.90. I hope you know how to round off. Negative 0.90. Okay, let's put that on. The answer here is negative. Oops, that's not a negative. Let's fix this. Negative 0.90. Easy as that. Hope it makes sense, right? Now, the second question. I hope this won't take you 2 minutes. I hope so. This will take you 1 minute or less, right? Especially if you practice. These things won't surprise you. And here again, we have 2 sine squared. Now, when they say sine squared, I'm going to show you how to write this. I'm happy that we did this question because you'll get to see how we do this. When we have 2 and the square sine of x minus 2, that 2 is not an angle. It's aside from the angle. So you only squaring the square sine. You're only squaring the sine of x, right? So I'm going to say sine of x. I'm going to write it step by step so you actually get what am I talking about here. I'm only going to do this step by step so you can see it. So when you see 2 sine squared x, it means you are supposed to rewrite it this way. That you're going to square the sine of x, the whole sine of x, right? So now, substitution, you have 2, you have sine, what is x? X is 56.3 degrees, close that, square it, minus 2. All over what? All over the cosine of y, which is 97.5 degrees. Don't forget to write the degrees. Then afterwards, you pull out your calculator, and then you punch your numbers on a calculator. This is what you're going to get. I hope I typed everything correctly there, but you can see my method and my answer, 4,72. I hope you got the same, right? Let me write that, 4,72. Voila, there you get your 5 marks, easy 5 marks. Remember, we don't end it there. Again, when I was searching the KZN paper, I saw one question that says solve the Trig expression without a calculator, and then you can see they're using special angles. They're using 45, they're using 60, they're using 45, they're using 30. Now if you are someone who likes maths, I would say, or who likes hard labor, you will draw the diagram that shows you the special angles and how things are, but that's not worth it. Remember, you can use a calculator. Even if they said without a calculator, you can use a calculator. Just keep your answers as fractions all the time, right? But you want to use this when you have special angles. This is a shortcut for you not to draw the special angles diagram. You're just going to put the numbers on a calculator and get them sorted out. Never use decimals, only use fractions. I hope I'm clear. I hope I'm clear, because this is the last time I'm saying this. So the tangent of 45, tan 45, I think this is 1 already. I think all of us know this. Tan 45 is 1. So I'm going to write this as 1. I'm going to say 1 multiplied by the cosecant of 60. Now, cosec of 60 comes from the sine. This is like an inverse of sine, right? An inverse of sine is like the same thing as 1 over sine 60, right? So now I want to make things simple, but okay, let's keep it this way, right? 1 over sine 60, right? And afterwards I have the cotangent. Let me erase this. The cotangent of 60, the cotangent of 30, this comes from the tangent, right? This is 1 over tan 30, right? So I'm going to write it that way. 1 over tan 30 multiplied by, here I have the cosecant of 45. The cosine of 45. Cosine of 45, I'm just going to use a calculator for that. And remember, this is being squared. So I'm going to square this fraction that I'm going to get. So I'm going to take out my calculator and I'm going to say cos 45, and I'm going to close bracket, and then I'm going to get root 2 over 2. So here I have root 2 over 2. Is it 2 over root 2? Root 2 over 2. Let me see. Root 2 over 2. There we go. Right. Now, afterwards, I'm going to substitute this with values, actual values, right? Let me erase this thing so that I can do that easily. So I'm happy that I also did this one because it's actually unique from the other two that we did, right? So I have 1 multiplied by 1 over sine 60. I need the sine 60. So this is 1 over, and afterwards I write the sine 60. So I'm going to say sine 60. And then I'm going to get root 3 over 2. Do that. That is root 3 over 2. And then I'm going to do the tangent of 30. Tangent of 30 is root 3 over 3. You see that? So I'm going to write 1, which is this one. Then root 3 over 3, right? Multiplied by, here I have root 2 over 2. I'm going to write it twice because it's being squared. Hope we're good. And then afterwards, from here you can basically use a calculator. Nothing is stopping you here. You can just use your calculator and then get to the answer to save yourself time, because you know you're going to make mistakes. And then if you think you're not going to make mistakes, then that's fine, right? So just pull out your calculator here and put all those numbers together there. And I'm going to do that with you. I'm going to say 1 multiplied by a fraction over a fraction. So here I have 1. Oops. I have 1 over a fraction. You see how am I doing it? I have root 3 over 2. and then I go to the denominator. I write the fraction. I have 1 over, and then I have a fraction as a denominator again. This is root 3. I'm showing you how am I doing it so that you also know how to use your calculator, right? Multiplied by, this is a fraction. This is root 2 over 2. Multiplied by root 2. Oops, this is a fraction. Multiplied by root 2 over 2. I'm showing you like each and every step of how am I getting this on a calculator. My answer there is 1 over 3. Easy. Then I go to my thing. I'm going to say this is equals to, how much was that? 1 over 3. Right. So how are you going to get all your marks here? Yes, you are. You are going to get all your marks because it's 1 mark here for getting the answer right. It's 1 mark for getting this right. It's 1 mark for getting this right. It's 1 mark for getting this right. It's 1 mark for getting that right. Every time you convert a special angle into a fraction, you get a mark for that. You get a mark for that and a mark for the final answer. All the steps that you can take, those they do not matter. Right. So I hope you're all set. I hope this thing was able to help you. We've actually reached the end of the video. I hope it was insightful for you. I hope you paused the video and tried the questions on your own before you proceeded. And then don't forget to sub and like the video and comment anything that you can comment, right? Comment what other topic do you want me to do? What are you desperate for? What do you need help with? I'll create the video and help you with that. That's all from me for now. Goodbye. See you on the next video.